This is a highly requested video. So this is a hooded eyes makeup tutorial right from scratch. And I'm talking about no eye makeup on my eyes, no concealer, nothing. I'm gonna show you exactly from start to finish how you can create this look and how it works like magic on hooded eyes. I can't wait because it's so easy to do as well. So stay tuned. Now, as I said, I have nothing on my eyelid, so I'm gonna get started with some eye cream. I'm gonna be using my ELEPHANT C-Tango multivitamin eye cream. Now, you wanna make sure there is nothing on your skin before you start with your skincare. So you wanna make sure that your face is washed, obviously, and you have no kind of oil, nothing on your eyelids. Everything is nice and clean. There's no toner, nothing. So we're gonna go ahead and apply a very small amount of this. Now, hopefully you can see how much of this we've applied. It's such a small amount. And we're gonna just smooth it between the fingertips there like this. Now we wanna make sure that we get a nice even amount of product on both fingertips here. We then want to make sure that we press over the lids. Now obviously if you're doing the whole lid, you can apply it underneath as well. Now I'm just using a different finger just because I don't want a whole load of eye cream on it. And I'm just pressing it in, and you want the eye kind of lid to be quite nice and like supple. Now my issue with my eyelids is kind of like redness with a mix of darkness, so it's kind of a bit of everything. So I want to obviously have them quite nice and clean, which is what I'm going to show you. So if you apply your eye makeup over kind of like bare skin and you've already got super smooth kind of like even toned skin, great, go for it. I would still always recommend, you know, mattifying the area so that it doesn't crease throughout the day. So whilst my eye cream is kind of like drying and we're letting it kind of settle down, I'm just gonna talk through what my next step is, but I'm also gonna actually explain to you exactly why you wanna let it settle down. So my eye cream is working to really hydrate the area. Now it's really important to understand that the skin around your eye area is the thinnest than anywhere else on your body. So obviously it is quite delicate. So you wanna make sure you're not heavy-handed with products, but you're also not pressing and tugging and everything as well. Use something which is hydrating, not too kind of like liquidy. You wanna go for something which has more of a balm texture to it so that it kind of isn't gonna make whatever you apply later just glide all over the place. You want it to really kind of stay put, and a balmy texture to your eye cream is perfect for that. So I feel like by now it's kind of settled down. I can feel that my skin has kind of soaked up that eye product, which is great. Now, next up, we want to apply a little bit of concealer. You can use a foundation instead if you want to. It's really up to you, like how much, like are you trying to cover up a lot of redness, you're really trying to cover up those dark circles, then probably go for a concealer. But if you're really just looking for a nice kind of simple base, then just use a foundation. So that's the only thing that you would swap over at this point, depending on what you're looking for. So I'm going to use my Tarte Shape Tape because I know it's going to cover up that darkness and that redness for me. That's basically what a concealer does. So I'm going to add just a tiny couple of dots here, and that's kind of more than enough. And all I'm going to do is kind of like press it in with a sponge. So I've got my beauty blender. My beauty blender is damp, which basically means I have soaked it until it's doubled in size, squeezed all the water out, then I've wrapped a tissue around it and squeezed it again so that we've got rid of all the excess water. So all I'm gonna do is literally bounce this over. Now I'm just gonna make sure I don't go all the way into my brow because obviously my brows are done. You really wanna get a nice even finish. So I'm kind of like doing small bounce movements. I'm never dragging it. I mean, look at the difference, seriously, look at the difference. Immediately, we have that coverage there. It's kind of got rid of the redness, got rid of the darkness. What we're doing is just bouncing again. There you go. Got this really nice even finish on the lids. Now this is where I'm looking down because I don't want it to crease. I want to really make sure that I set this, and that's why I'm looking down to ensure that the product doesn't build up in the creasing, because facial movements can kind of create that creasing. Now I've got my powder, which is my Huda Beauty. I'm gonna just look really odd here while I'm doing this. This is my Huda Beauty Easy Baking Banana Bread. I've got my powder puff, which is my RMS. Dip into it and just dip on the hand so that you don't get a whole load of powder, and then press over. And now you can move your eyes around. All we're gonna do here is get a brush. I'm using my Real Technique setting brush. And I'm just gonna dust all this powder off. There you go. Now the eyes are completely set and we're ready to do whatever eye look that we want to do. Now the reason we did all of that is because we want to make sure that firstly we have this really nice even base. This is kind of like our prep and our prime. So you don't need to use a primer, especially if you have hooded eyes. Something like this is going to work wonders for you too. So you want to now move on to whatever eye product that you're using. Now I'm going to show you this look which I think works really well on hooded eyes, and it adds that kind of vibrancy as well. So you have some color. Now I could have very easily chosen other colors, but I just thought, you know what, let's keep it nice and kind of like a nice kind of peachy but bright peachy color, like pinkish peachy color. So I'm going to be using two different textures, and this is a really good way to kind of make textures stand out. Now the reason I'm doing this is because I want you to know that if you have hooded eyes, I fully understand that you don't have much to work with, because basically what that means is that your lid is very hidden. So the minute you open your eyes, most of your lid is hidden. I know I don't have hooded eyes. I have a very, very semi-hooded eye on this side. Was it this side? Or I can't remember which side it is, but I feel like I'm just, you know when you look at yourself too much and everything looks a bit weird? It's like that currently. So I have one eye which is slightly hooded, but I think it actually might be that. It is nowhere near hooded as much as what I have seen. So I understand, especially when I'm working with clients, that it can be a struggle to try and get your eye makeup to actually look obvious. So that's why I'm excited to show you this. I'm using my RMS Eyelights, and this is in the shade Sunbeam. This is a really nice kind of, I would say like a metallic-y kind of peachy eye shadow cream. Now what I want you to do is get some on the back of your hand. You really don't need a lot. Now I want you to understand what I'm going to say here. It's so simple, but it's so effective, right? So what's the issue with hooded eyes? The issue is that you can't see a lot of the lid, right, when you open your eyes. And the issue is that you want to be able to create an eye look that you can see on your eyes when your eyes are open. But the problem is your lid gets hidden. What I want you to work with is as close to the lash line as possible, right? Including the edges here. So we're really gonna focus on using the end part of the eye, because you can see that, but it's still attached to the eye, so it doesn't get hidden so much. And also everyone has a different like kind of version of hooded eyes. So some of you will have hooded eyes where you can see the smallest amount of your lid here. Some of you will be a little bit more. There's very different extremes to this. So this is basically for the look that I'm showing is for eyes which have, where you can still see a tiny bit of the lid, but it's just not a lot, and you still struggle with the hooded eyes. So what I want you to do is just smooth your finger over this, because what I want you to remember is if you're not going to see a lot of your lid, then you don't need to work on that as much, because you really want to focus on the area that you can see. So this is where we are going to get the eyeshadow. We've got the cream on the finger there. We're going to press on the lash line, just on the lash line and just along the center there. Now granted, on my eye you're going to see it way more, but that's because obviously I don't have as much like hooded eyes that you can like that I can work with, but I can only show you on my eye. But I can promise you this is going to work wonders for you. So can you see I'm just going along the lash line, focusing on the center, but you can move it along the edges if you want. And I'm just taking it off the back of my hand, and I'm doing the same on this side. Gonna keep building it up. And the great thing is, because we're working with this peachy color, like once you apply it, it's really easy to like just buff it in with your finger, because there isn't much blending that you really need to do. So what I want to do now is get my Makeup by Mario Neutrals palette, and I'm going to be using shade 8. I'm going to use my BK Beauty 206 brush. We're going to pat into this color. Now there's a lot of product that comes off of this, so you really want to make sure you go onto the back of the hand a few times so that you're not kind of left with a whole load of color that transfers. Now this is where you want to look straight into the mirror, and you want to start from the end of the lash line, right? So the last quarter of the lash line, start from the actual lash line, and what you're going to do here is just take it out here towards the edge. And remember, you can go like a little bit darker if you want with your color, or I'm going for something which is similar to my skin tone, but a little bit deeper. So look at what your skin tone is and find a shade which is matte, but that is a little bit deeper than your skin tone. So still that similar kind of tone, but just a little bit darker. So can you see I'm just pressing using the tip? And then once I've got that bulk color there, what is really important, by the way, quick pause, is to make sure you dab the excess off. I know I've said this a few times, but it's so important. So I'm pressing and then I'm dragging. So I'm not really focused on kind of like creating that color on the lid. I'm focused on creating that kind of slight kind of darkness along the end and dragging it out. Because if you can't see the lid, but you can see this end bit, then use it. So can you see now this is kind of elongated our eye a little bit? We're gonna do the same thing on this side. Press. And the great thing about using a color which is similar to your skin tone, but a little bit, tiny bit deeper, is that again, you don't need to really focus on blending as much. So we're really focusing on the end here. Pat and drag, like flick, and that's gonna create a little bit of kind of like, there's some kind of definition there, there's some darkness there. So now that we've done that, that's all we wanna really do on the end of the lash. What we wanna do is add a little bit more sparkle to really bring it out, especially along the lash line. So I'm using my Hourglass Scattered Light Glitter Eyeshadow in Blaze. And I'm just gonna get my finger, go over it. We want a very small amount. And we're gonna touch just the lash line. And what this is doing, because we used a cream eyeshadow before, this is gonna stick to it and just enhance it. And I've chosen these two shades intentionally because this specific shade of glitter from Hourglass matches perfectly with that RMS cream eyeshadow. Can you see how that's just like really opened up the eye? We don't want to leave it just there. We also want to do something similar on the lower lash line. So this is where we're going to get that eyeshadow that we used, the palette, same color, but we're using the BK Beauty 207 brush. Pat on the back of the hand. This is a smaller brush. And now what we're going to do is do the same thing. So basically we're replicating everything but on the lower lash line. So we're going to go into the lower lash, just at the end, and then drag it out so it meets that top section there. We're gonna do the same here, press, and then drag this out. There you go. So we've got that color on the lower lash line as well. So everything looks like it's now connecting and it's coming together. We're now going to get some more of that RMS eyeshadow on the back of the hand, but now we are not using the finger. We're going to use a brush, and we're going to use that same brush. We're going to go into this cream eyeshadow. Now, a quick little trick. If you feel that the cream eyeshadow is a little bit too creamy for you, let it sit on the back of the hand for a little bit, because it's going to just kind of like set a little bit, and then it's much easier for you to kind of get the color transfer and not have too much fluidity in there. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take this. You can either, there's two options here. You can either take this just on the center on the lower lash line so it matches the top, or on the inner corner of the lower lash line. I prefer the inner corner of the lower lash line so everything doesn't look just look like a spotlight eye. So I'm going to just apply a very small amount on the lower lash line, just on the inner corner there. So just here, and what this does, because you have hooded eyes, it's actually opening up the eye even more. And the great thing is you're using a color, so you're not like just relying on basic highlight shades. This is an actual peach shade, so it looks good. Now this is where you can go back into that glitter, because while this eyeshadow is still a little bit tacky, go into the glitter with the brush, just a small amount, and then just press there, and that's really gonna open it up even more. This is such a pretty look that suits, you know, any eye shape and type can do this, but it really is helpful for hooded eyes. So next up, we want to curl the lashes. You want to use your lash curler. This is another really important step for hooded eyes because you're really relying on all the other things on your eye area to open up the eye area. So curling your lashes is really going to help to just open up the eye area. So we've curled them, and I use my KEVYN AUCOIN lash curlers because they're amazing. And then we want to use a mascara. I'm going to use the MERCIER Caviar extravagant. None of that came out right. It looks like I normally open up the mascara. I haven't used this one yet. And then I check the kind of brush to see, and this looks like a good chunky brush. So I'm hoping this is a good mascara. So let's see. I mean, curling your lashes will automatically make any mascara a lot better than it would be without curling your lashes. Oh, this is actually a nice mascara. So you really want to go through the lashes, look down when you're applying your mascara. Wriggle into the root if you want a slightly thicker effect. And if you don't want your lash line to look so thick, then just brush through the lashes without wriggling into the root. Let's go on the other eye. I'm really excited for you guys to actually try this look because I just feel like it's going to be such a game changer. Like, it's so hard, and I fully get it. It's so hard to find different eye looks that you could do. Like, it's hard to be experimental and adventurous with eye makeup when you have hooded eyes. So I do fully get it. So I've really been trying to figure out like different ways and, you know, to kind of like really open up your eyes. And I wanted to start off with something that I already do use on my clients who have hooded eyes, but I'm going to be working to kind of like create some more looks for you because I know it's a struggle for you. So I'm just going to touch my lower lashes a little bit because I don't want too much there. It's honestly as simple as that, guys. It's really easy. I mean, on one hand, you kind of think, okay, with hooded eyes, you're working with less of the eye, so it can kind of be easier in the sense that you don't have so much to work with. But I guess that's more of a from a makeup artist point of view. But on the other hand, it's a real struggle when you're working on yourself and you have hooded eyes because you want to be able to create looks which you can see, you know, when your eyes are open, you still want to be able to see that look. And I understand it's a struggle, and I know that a lot of the times the main area that you have to play with is your lower lash line, but I really wanted to show you something that hopefully will work for your type of hooded eyes. Like I said, if you have such extreme hooded eyes that you don't even see your upper lash line, let alone your lid, then obviously that's another story and you really need to focus on your lower lash line. But if you're seeing even a peak of your upper lash line, this is still going to make a difference. So even if you feel like that's not going to make a difference, try it, because trust me, it's going to help. The good thing about this look is because we're working primarily on the lash line and not on the lid, you don't have to worry so much about creasing, because I also understand that when you have hooded eyes, you really struggle with the creasing because there's such a real fold of the skin there on the lid that it is very easy for products to get kind of mixed up in there, and then you see it and it all looks a mess. I get it, I totally do. So that's why I really wanted to focus on lash line so that you're not having to worry about the whole lid area. So I really do hope this has helped you. It's an easy, quick look to do. Please try and master it. So watch the video back, do the look with me, pause, start, stop, wherever you need to really get the hang of it. And these products are all listed in my description, and make sure you check for discount codes because I have a whole load of them, so you might be able to get yourself a nice little discount on them too. And don't forget, I do have an online publication called the Beauty Breakfast Club, which is basically a beauty community that we've started and a newsletter that you get 3 times a week. And it's really exciting because we're growing the community, and you have 2 options of subscription. One is free, which gives you access to most of the site. The other is paid, the equivalent of getting yourself a coffee a month. And it really helps me to be able to reinvest into my business. And that gives you access to the entire site along with a chat room where me and you can chat, and you get access to an extra newsletter a week, which is great. So excited to see you over there. Please head on over. I would love to chat to you there. I also have a vlog channel which has a mix of vlogs and some podcasts, which I host with my husband, called Minding Our Business. So you might want to watch that too for a bit of real talk and married life chat. If you like this video, please do give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and hit the bell button so that you never miss any of my future videos. Until the next video, take care, and I'll see you soon.